The quiet tranquility of fishing a pristine mountain lake is just one of the many experiences available to Idaho anglers. All over Idaho, beautiful rivers, lakes, and streams are just begging to be fished. It has all the romance of a late 19th century Impressionist painting. Dappled sunlight, soft reflections, peace and serenity. A couple of fishermen, a pretty woman, on a boat slowly drifting through a lazy summer day. In southeast Idaho, the South Fork of the Snake River spills out of Palisades Reservoir to form a beautiful canyon. It boasts not only the romantic scenery of a Monet masterpiece, but some of the best cutthroat fishing around.
Oh, he's a beauty. He is.
The idea of releasing a fish like this cutthroat has turned a fading resource into a river known nationwide for its premier trout fishing.
Boy, you can see the red on his throat.
In the early 80s, the river's regular anglers noted that the number of fish and their size were deteriorating. A study conducted by the Idaho Department of Fish and Game confirmed that the trout population was showing signs of overfishing. Regulations were eventually changed to a 2-trout limit and the release of all trout, rainbow, brown, hybrids, and cutthroat, between 8 and 16 inches. In just a few years, the river has turned back around.
And try to get the fly out of his mouth even while he's still in the net, then I can concentrate on releasing him.
The cutthroat population has increased somewhere around 3 or 4 times, but the number of larger fish over 16 inches, has increased even more dramatically. As I recall, it was only like 1% of the fish were over 16 inches, and now it's 10%. So, not only has the number of fish increased, but the percent of larger fish has increased sharply.
Cutthroats are a bit less crafty than their cousins, the brown and rainbow trout.
Boy, you look at him, you'd never do with a brown trout or even a rainbow. You'd never come back if they'd made a mistake.
Mistakes like this make the cutthroat trout a little more easy to catch. A plus for the beginning angler.
Okay, pick it up. Good cast. Yeah, there you go.
This is 10-year-old Whitney Trent's first day with a fly rod, and she's already caught and released a nice cutthroat. She may also have caught a touch of the terminal fly fishing fever that affects her dad, and collected some lasting memories along the way.
We'll be able to come here for many years and stand in the same spots and say we caught our first fish here.
The fever to fish is something that can be difficult to put into words. What is it that draws so many folks to Idaho's lakes, rivers, and streams?
Whether it's returning to nature and trying to be a hunter-gatherer, or it's just fun to fool a fish, or you don't know how big they're going to be or when they're going to hit. But, just something a lot of people like to do.
It was really fun. It was really fun. It's fun to see him come up and take the fly and just go. It was really fun.
The traditional picture of a fly fisherman is someone clad in waders, standing midstream, bracing himself against the flow of the river. But in the last 10 years, drift boats have begun catching on. They provide access to rivers that are too swift or deep to wade, and open up another world to fly fishermen.
With a drift boat, you can work the shorelines, you can stop where you want to and fish, and it's a nice way to fish. It's quiet, peaceful, and major disturbance of the mergansers taking off or watching the eagles, and it's a nice way to fish.
The trick to fly fishing is to know what the fish are hitting. Usually at this time of the year, early July, a stonefly hatch begins on the South Fork that lasts about a month.
That really carries a lot of the trout population in this river. They're a big juicy bug that has a lot of nutritive value.
Research studies show that the trout get close to half their annual calories from the stonefly hatch. But today, cool weather has interrupted the cycle.
That's a pretty typical fish, isn't it?
That's about the standard size.
Yeah.
13, 14 inches.
Today, the trout seem to be interested in another delicacy.
It's a pseudocleon. It's a real small mayfly with and instead of having a little lower wing, it's at sort of a spur wing like most mayflies. It's just got this single upper wing, 2 tails, And in this case, olive body. One of his wings is stuck to my finger.
Tiny flies tied to gossamer tippets. Those are the words of Charles Kuralt. Someone once asked Kuralt who was the greatest person he ever met on the road. His choice was a retired judge and author named John Fokker, a man with the fever to fish and a gift for words. Fokker wrote, "I fish because I love to, because I love the environs where trout are found, which are invariably beautiful. Because trout do not lie or cheat, or cannot be bought or bribed, or impressed by power, but respond only to quietude and humility and endless patience. Because I suspect that men are going along this way for the last time, and I, for one, don't want to waste the trip. And finally, not because I regard fishing as being so terribly important, but I suspect that so many of the other concerns of men are equally unimportant and not nearly so much fun. Amen."